There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Captain Quasar, and welcome back to another live stream. Sorry, I've got like a million things on my mind. I've got like all these, just so many things going on, thinking about streaming, thinking about my personal life, thinking about, it's a new month, got bills to pay, all that type of stuff. But now we're here for the stream, so now it's time for fun. That's the whole thing, right? It's all about letting go for the next few hours and focusing on whatever the hell the internet has to say. But let's get into it, because I do have some Instagram posts as well as a few videos to look at while we wait to see if Piers Morgan's debate with Ethan Klein will be posted today. Piers Morgan as the moderator, Piers Morgan Uncensored. I looked at his channel. I've been like following it today to see when it gets posted. This got posted an hour ago. So honestly, I'm afraid that it might not get posted today. But there is history. If you go back, these two posts, 7 days ago, I believe these were on the same day, if I'm not mistaken. Not what I meant to click. Oh, it's just not working. Weird. Keeping my finger up this whole time while I do it. Click through. This one. Nope, that was wrong day. That was wrong day. Wait, one second. One second. It was that one, and then it was the 6 day ago one? Yes. So both of these were on January 27th. Both are about 40 minutes long. So, like, there is a history of Piers Morgan posting twice in a day. So I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out in a bit and gets released. But it's all just a waiting game now. I also think this might be a clip, if I'm not mistaken, from a greater conversation, or maybe this was just the singular conversation. He just has Dave Smith on a lot, and Tim Pool. I guess not as frequently, but still quite a bit. Interesting. Okay, but we lie in wait. Were they joking? If they were joking, then it was a real good joke on me. But it seems pretty serious. What do you guys think? Should that be the poll? I'll need to change the title and thumbnail, but hey, maybe it'll be good clickbait. They said it pretty seriously. Here, I pulled up the clip just to make sure that he said it was today.
So I don't know how long it was, an hour or something? But
it was about an hour, yeah.
It's going to air tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Unedited.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Uncensored, baby. It was with
We'll see.
Benny Johnson, someone that is just a total detestable loser.
But I was still really happy to see that he was there. I mean, he's been we've talked about Benny Johnson for years at this point.
Yeah,
Well, it seems like you're going to have to collab with Lus. What do you mean? I'd collab with Lus in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so
he's the left camp meme guy.
This all seems pretty genuine, and the segment's just called Ethan Win on Piers Morgan.
it's beautiful.
It was fun, though. It was interesting. I mean, listen, I watched that show, and we know why. We don't watch for a nuanced political discussion. We watch for the blood sports, and so I brought it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what he said. Every time he says that, I think of Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bloodsport. It's a Jean-Claude movie, right? Yeah, Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Political blood sports. Oh, Lus is live right now? What's he talking about? I do have a few goofs to look at. Oh, wow. Lus is live. Hassan Piker, Tectone, and Destiny view botting? Why it should be illegal. Interesting. If they're actually view botting, see, I don't understand view botting, because when you're on that level, is it literally just an ego thing? Because I assume that view botting doesn't actually make you money. That's like always just been my assumption, because it would be, that just seems like the best hack in the world, right? If you could get monetized and then do view botting to just be able to like basically infinite money glitch. So I always assumed that it wouldn't actually boost like any ad watches, and it would just like somehow artificially boost the numbers. That was always just my assumption. That's what, I mean, I wouldn't do it regardless, just because, I mean, just seems pointless, especially in the field that I'm in. It's like I want to be actually interacting with people. Interacting with bots seems ridiculous. That's truly just talking to yourself. But like, at least if they could make some money on it, that'd make at least a little bit more sense. More people are more likely to click on a video with loads of viewers. I always hear that, but is that true? Is that actually true? And like, to what extent? Because like, just because they're willing to click doesn't mean that they'll have good retention, and then bad retention time will lead to more to like lower push in the algorithm. I guess when they're on that level, maybe it's better. But even so, it's just I guess maybe. I guess once you're on that level, it would make more sense, right? Because for a small streamer, it doesn't make any sense. If you have 1,000 views or 1,000 live viewers, people aren't going to come in just because you have 1,000 live viewers. But I guess the difference between 20 and 30K is where there starts to be like a bit, like something that matters a bit more. And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, it'll mean something to someone. Lus is on the fast train to YouTube lawyer goonery, and that train is headed east, fellas. See, I don't want to give Lus any hate.
To be a content creator,
but I will say that I can tell he's getting into the drama a little bit. He's been coming after Legal Mindset. I remember he talked about him a while back, but and we've kind of just dropped Legal Mindset, Legal Mindset on this channel. Just because we found him to be detestable, and so it does. I mean, it does. I get it, right? It's like gotta chase the views. At the end of the day, what's the point of making the YouTube channel otherwise? You know what? He wants to teach law. He could go become a teacher. You know what I mean? He could do it as as independent side work, to mentorship. Yeah, no hate, just observing. I've seen this arc before. I definitely think it's possible. I definitely think it's a possibility. Would hate to see it. Oh. I didn't know that Lust was non-binary. Interesting. Not like it's super interesting, just I didn't know that. Shout out. Shout out or shut out? I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll figure it out later. He's calling out Legal Mindset and is annoyed there's no other law tubers talking about Tectone, etc. I mean, trying to gatekeep LawTube and what others shouldn't talk about is kind of I'll always give it up to Bruce Rivers. Bruce Rivers, he's a criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's a criminal lawyer. Has he gone off the rails at all recently? And it's because he sticks to hard-hitting news. He sticks to real topics. He isn't bogged down by internet drama. Let me hear it real quick. Where is it? Where's a good one? Is it just his theme song in every video?
If you have a neighbor that's right wing or left wing, why don't you shovel his driveway once? Why don't you bring over a pie? You know, find somebody you really disagree with and do something nice for him.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers.
I do agree with him on that point, that it's much easier to, you know, find argument based on our differences than it is to actually try and figure out the things that we can agree on. Extending that olive branch is never easy, but it must be done. Shout out, and then I'm gonna just move Piers Morgan over here, and I'm gonna just wait and see. I have a lot of other stuff to look at today, obviously, and so I'll change the thumbnail and title if I need to. It'll just be clickbait for now. Thanks everybody for stopping in. Here's a couple goofs and gaffes that I had prepared. This was insane. Do it! No! Oh! It was great technique. And then, is that a... Yeah, he can... Well, I guess it'd be the reverse. I was gonna say he could get him in a spladle, but I guess he would... The guy on the ground would be able to get him into a spladle.
Oh my God!
Do it!
No! Oh my God!
Do it!
No!
I like that this guy's just wearing, like, pajamas. He's wearing some flame pajamas as his costume.
Oh! Oh my God!
Here's the story of my life from Shrek Kids.
Tokyo, story of my life, always doomed to fail, cheated by a fox, swallowed by a whale. That's the story of my life, oh yeah, that's the story of my life.
You know, shout out this kid. I thought he did good. I just thought it was really funny that the person filming, like, I get they're just trying to stay in their seat, but it almost looks like they shouldn't be filming the way they're, like, behind somebody's head at the beginning.
David!
It looks like this is, like, something that they shouldn't have been filming. This is from a secret underground church where they're doing Shrek Kids. You'd be frightened by the things you'd see. Yeah, no, the kid did really good. When words fail from Shrek the Musical unironically makes me cry when I hear it. It's a good musical. It's one of the best, some would say. I don't know if I would say that, but some would. Good job, kid. Shout out. I did think it was funny, too. I don't know how I feel about, like, this kid's obviously an actor and trying maybe to get into other performance stuff. I don't know about having your kid on Instagram, even if you are running the page, because they aren't even, like, trying to pretend like the kid's running the page or anything. I saw one comment where they were like, oh, you're doing so good. And then one of the parents responded being like, oh, he does well, he's doing this, like, kind of explaining something. And so I don't know how I feel about that, to be completely honest, but shout out him nonetheless. Like, as long as he's not, like, on it and you're not, like, using him for content, then I guess I don't care. Looked like they were just posting his accolades. Now here's some high-level bowling. This is a technique you don't see often. It's actually an adaptation, a little bit of an advancement of the Fred Flintstone style. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I should be paying attention over here, but no. You should be watching Spider-Man to the right. Spider-Man to the right here is going to show you what it means to be a professional bowler. Is it bad technique if it works? Answer me that. really analyze this. Really take a look. It's not even a stutter step. He kind of like limps forward with his right foot, and then starts running on its toes a little bit. And then this was the most interesting part. It's not a regular, I don't even know what you'd call this, underhand like roll. He pushes it from the chest, one-handed, just off the fingers. I wonder if he got a good little, I wonder if that happened. You just heard a little right after. And then, bound, strike, which in bowling is good. Skills above skills, and here are some more skills. I again can't play audio because this has music on it, but let's just watch this again from the beginning. These things aren't connected; they just go. Because I get that they're locking in place, but even so, the stability, the upper body strength, the balance. You know, being in the circus sounds fun. I don't know if that's what this person does, but I can't see another purpose to have this. I actually, some of my ancestors were in the circus, funnily enough. He was a clown. And look at me now. It's all the same, you know? Streamers are just the jesters of the modern age. I remember a tabletop game like this when I was a kid in the 80s. Like a balance game where you have to like balance stuff up. Like reverse Jenga. Or is it like Jenga but more complicated? That makes so much sense, Captain. I know, right? I need more clown stories. I need to go ask for them again. Get the real rundown. But here, let's decide. Oh wait, no. This is what we're gonna do instead. What am I talking about? We have the Clint's Reptiles video that we're gonna check out. But before we get to that, we have Alex the Fiction's new
company.
Video. I don't want to watch the full thing, but I want to get through just a bit of it, and then you guys can go check it out on your own. Shout out Alex the Fiction. Let's give this a watch. This is former Reddit mod Stale2000 goes on the attack. H3Y number 24. When I saw this drop, I started getting so giddy. I felt my mood boost. I felt no more worries in my heart. I could rest. I could be at ease. So let's see how this goes. Interesting start. Let's see. Nice intro.
Hello, Spez, Mr. CEO of Reddit. I hope you watched this video, and I hope you remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more
Flava Flav was on Howie's podcast. I did need to know that. Thank you. Might have to pull that up next.
Podcast from Alex the Fiction. This is a matter of deadly seriousness. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of H3Y. Today I'm with Brian Wade, also known as Stale2000, also known as Tarot Card. Brian, for those who don't know who you are, would you like to introduce yourself?
He giggled at that one. I wonder if he knows that that's a... I mean, there's a lot of people like that, you know what I mean? Eminem, Marshall Mathers, Slim Shady. Yeah. Biggie Smalls, the Notorious B.I.G., his original name, MC Quest. I had to make sure that was what it was.
Yeah, so I just go by Brian, but I am, I was involved in kind of like a big drama kind of blow up recently. I ran a subreddit. I made a viral video directed to kind of like the CEO of Reddit, but I've also been in kind of like the Twitch live streaming space for kind of a while. I used to work at Twitch for a while, and I did a lot of influencer stuff.
Awesome, very good, very good. Let me give you a breakdown for this interview. We have icebreaker questions. These are questions I ask every guest. We have some Stale 2000 specific questions, and then we have some fun activities at the end. So, Brian, first question: do you have any ghost stories?
Ghost story.
Oh yeah, that's good. Snoop Dogg, Snoop Lion, P Diddy, Puff Daddy. Snoop Doggy Dogg, Snoop Lion, The Dog Father, and DJ Snoopadelic. Sorry, I had to look up what all the names are. Oh, Big Snoop Dogg, Snoop Rock, Snoopzilla, and Uncle Snoop as well. Great names. Can't forget about the Snoopzilla or whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't know about ghost stories, but I've had like weird situations where it's like somebody will like ask me a question and it's like, did you have like a...
Ethan said the Piers Morgan interview was dropping today, and I talked about this in the beginning. Piers Morgan does have a history of posting twice in the same day for the for like the Western United States because of like the way that, what is it right now? It's like 6 in the UK. Yeah, it's 6:19 in the UK right now. So they could post again like late night type of thing for the the Western audience, like the American audience.
Second meeting behind.
Oh, what I was going to post for the poll is I have a poll up. This is about the interview because Ethan, Zach asked him, how did you mispronounce his name? Piers, he said Morg Pearson. And so I wanted to ask, how do you think? How will Ethan Klein mispronounce Piers Morgan's name? Will he say Morg Pearson, Piers Person, Morgan Piersman, or Pearson Morgan? So let's start this poll. But let's get back to the real content here.
Behind it, or like, are you trying to get at something? And so I've had a couple situations like that, like weird situations.
What?
A question, and it's like, did you have like a second meaning behind it, or like?
Wait. I'm sorry. I need to hear this all again.
Please.
Ghost stories.
Yeah.
He was really taken aback by that. Ghost stories. Ghosts aren't real, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? That was the kind of energy he gave off there. Chill.
I don't know about ghost stories, but I've had like weird situations where it's like somebody will like ask me a question and it's like, did you have like a second meaning behind it, or like, are you trying to get at something? And so I've had a couple situations like that, like weird situations, but not a ghost story.
Gotcha. Fair enough. There was a lot of debate when I advertised that'd be having an interview with you.
Yeah, he's been in weird situations. Did you have like that? It wasn't even supernatural at all. He was just saying, I've had weird interactions with people where I'm like, I was talking to a girl and I was like, do you like me? I was like, is that what you meant by you want to go? You're kind of hungry right now, so because you're on your lunch break, and so you want to go get food. Like you want to go get food with me. You said, "Oh, I'm going on my lunch break right now. I can't talk." So you want me to come with you? Is that what you mean? I'm really. I don't know what he means by that.
People were gonna question if you were a skeptic on ghosts or not. Do you believe ghosts are real?
No. And I mean, we would have caught it on camera, I feel like.
Gotcha.
At this point.
Oh, we have?
All right, very.
Come on, man. It's like, do you even believe in tarot? I forget where I saw someone say that. They're like, it's not tarot, it's tarot. Oh, I think somebody said that to me at the fucking Ren Fair once. And I was like, shut up. And I walked away.
Very good. Next icebreaker question. How do you wipe? For back to front or front to back?
I honestly, I don't even know. I don't even like think about it.
Okay. But you do wipe. No bidet
yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, he doesn't know how he wipes. Is that what he said?
How do you wipe? From back to front or front to back?
I honestly, I don't even know. I don't even like think about it.
It just happens. What is that? I don't believe in ghosts. I don't know about ghosts. I don't believe in wiping.
Okay. But you do wipe. No bidet involved.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
But you do wipe. It's a great follow-up, Alex, I have to say. From that answer, I guess that is the appropriate follow-up to have.
Very good. And last icebreaker question. What would be your last meal?
I had some sausage, actually. I went to like a breakfast shop in San Francisco recently.
Okay, I'm starting to think this guy's Andy Kaufman. This is the funniest fucking interview ever.
You wipe. No bidet involved.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Very good. And last icebreaker question. What would be your last meal?
I had some sausage, actually. I went to like a breakfast shop in San Francisco recently.
No, not like the last meal you ate.
Okay.
Like if it's like a prison situation, you get to pick whatever you want as your last meal before you get sent to the electric chair.
I like filet. Okay, like I like steak. That's just the way to do it. And I eat that almost every day, every week as well. So that's.
You eat steak every single day? That's crazy. Why would you have that as your last meal then? Seems like kind of a wasted opportunity.
Good.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. All right, let's jump into the Stale specific questions. What is the meaning behind Stale2000?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of chess, so it's.
I'm like not gonna get over that. That was so funny. That was such a I can't not believe this is real. Like this isn't real now. That was too funny. What would be your last meal? Well, I had like a breakfast sausage in San Francisco. It's a great fucking. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back.
As well, so that's good.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. All right, let's jump into the Stale specific questions. What is the meaning behind Stale2000?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of chess, so it's short for stalemate, and that's really it. And I picked it kind of a long time ago, in the year 2000, I guess, and then that was it. Stuck with it.
Okay. I was wondering if 2000 was a reference to South Park, because for season 4, every episode title they'd have 2000 just tagged on at the end because they thought it was funny.
I just made it in that year.
Gotcha. Okay, very good.
That was my birth onto the internet.
So I've seen you in other interviews, and your viral.
Okay, so now I'm imagining he must be in his 30s then, which makes the hair situation at least make more sense.
Video, you said you were half serious, half joking. So what I wanted to ask was, were you serious when you considered the state of moderation at Reddit a state of deadly seriousness?
I mean, I'm being a little bit facetious there because I understand that it's funny to say it is deadly serious to talk about Reddit moderation. That's like a comedy beat. But I do think that it does matter for the platform. Like Reddit is the third largest website in the US. It's worth $40 billion and it's just kind of run like a bad house. And so, yeah, I do think that it matters to some people.
Very good. Very good. So I'm curious about like where your allegiance lies in the online holy wars, as we like to call it. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on Hassan, Destiny, and Ethan Klein?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty deep in it as well. So I'm very much in the kind of the Destiny faction as well right now. So, I've been on his streams a couple times. People call me an orbiter. I'm not an orbiter of Destiny. I've been on like the stream like 2 or 3 times.
If you've been on his stream 2 or 3 times and you've also... You've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. From what I can see, just from glancing real quick, 7 out of your 38 videos are about Destiny. I mean, I'd say you're somewhat of an orbiter at the very least. And the other things I would say are probably within the zeitgeist.
I'm not like a live stream side character. And then Hassan he's not my enemy, but I'm like his enemy. So he knows who I am, and he like brings me up on a stream and he attacks me for it. And so that's kind of funny. You know, I mean, I'm my politics are, I'm like a kind of a center right conservative, and so that puts me at
Interesting.
odds with a lot of the the political space. And yeah, I mean, I like H3's character arc. So he started out.
The troll thing, I'm still like playing in my head. I'm playing like everything he says through this like filter, trying to figure out if he's a troll or not. Destiny might say insane stuff, but he is on the left. So being a center right conservative that does has gone on Destiny's stream and has done things like around his content, that does seem a little bit odd. Okay, interesting.
Out with a lot of these like kind of far lefty people, he saw all these problems and then kind of did an interesting character arc. So that's my thoughts.
That didn't. Oh yeah, wait. I need to go back on that part.
I mean, I like H3's character arc. So he started out with a lot of these like kind of far lefty people. He saw all these problems and then kind of did an interesting character arc. So
I think he might just be a fucking masterclass troll. I think that might be what it is.
That's my thoughts.
Gotcha. Interesting. How did you become such a big Destiny fan?
Way back in the early days, I used to play StarCraft, and then he was a very entertaining person coming up with these crazy analogies, like the Four Infestor Hit Squad, and yeah, that was really, and like StarCraft really was the birth of a lot of kind of live streaming and that space and these kind of crazy characters, and so that's how.
Which of the three creators I mentioned do you think gets censored the most?
Ethan isn't right wing. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes me think this is just a straight troll, because he wasn't even very specific on what he said. He just said Ethan made this character arc from being like this left whatever to the right, like kind of like implying that. But if anything, Ethan did like the opposite, because he was making fun of like, you know, social justice warriors and stuff in early content, which is like he was appealing more to a at least center right audience.
On livestream fails,
censored the most?
Yeah.
This is gonna sound counterintuitive, but the more somebody gets attacked, the more it would end up being censored, because now it's like overwhelming the subreddit. So it's probably actually, you know, Hassan clips, even though we have tons of Hassan hate clips, but because there's like so many, it like overwhelms it. I'm like screw this spam. Let's tear it down a little bit. But yeah, so it's kind of funny that I get accused a lot for like helping Hassan or censoring his bad clips, when it's like, well, that's because I don't want the whole subreddit just be Hassan hate clips. So no.
Right. Which creator would you say is most universally celebrated on live stream fails?
I mean, right now it's easily Destiny. So his kind of communities is very online, very kind of Reddit oriented, and so he has a pretty significant faction, you know, on the subreddit.
I was surprised. I was expecting you to say someone like Northern Lion, because every time I see
I thought you meant those three.
Yeah, yeah, just in general when it comes to live stream fails.
Yeah, I would say him, Forsen too. He still gets a lot of pull, I would say. So yeah, people like Forsen.
Why did you consider live stream fails a gaming subreddit?
I mean, that's how it started. So live streaming used to be about gaming. You know, that.
I mean, I would disagree. I would say that was like a decent like percentage of it, but because like Tom Green, right? Like Tom Green was doing live stream stuff. When was Justin TV? So maybe that was around the same time though, because Justin TV before Twitch. because like wasn't Destiny one of like the bigger streamers on Justin TV at the time? It is interesting, because I would say that the streaming definitely had gaming as like a major element of it, just because I would say that gaming culture was very popular in the 2000s and 2010s, and it's kind of, I'd say things have kind of fizzled out to where gaming culture is now very much like more micro rather than macro. Like everybody is in specific niches of, they like RPGs, or they like specific games. You know, there's like fan bases that only like Fallout, or only like Red Dead Redemption, or only like GTA, or you know, or only like indie games, or only like you know, classics. So I definitely think it's just like a fact that gaming has become a bit less popular. Like it's become one of those things where it's more popular overall, more people are gaming, but I would say that it's become that's what that's the point. It's less of a hot commodity at that point. It's oversaturated, and then it become like a loss of value in some way. And I mean, you could think that that's bad. That, I guess that might be what he's like referring to, is that gaming just isn't as popular anymore. That sucks, but like, it's not really up to you to define what is like the popular meta at the time.
That was what Twitch was, and then it slowly became more kind of influencer focused and IRL focused and political focused, but it still has its roots in gaming. So all of these people play games and come from the gaming space. So that's why I call it kind of like a gaming subreddit.
Fair enough. You seemed really passionate.
Alex seems so uninterested with this conversation. Fair enough.
So that's why I call it kind of like a gaming subreddit.
Fair enough. You seemed really passionate about the whole like gaming aspect to LSF. How come you don't want to moderate for a gaming fail specific subreddit?
Because those ones don't have the views. So you can't just like recreate stuff from scratch. You got to find the things that have the influence and viewers already, and then kind of like control that and push it to.
That's the part that doesn't make sense, though. I hope Alex kind of pushes him on this, because why does the influence matter if what you're wanting is to focus on the niche? Do you care more about the niche, or do you care about influencing a large group into the specific niche that you appreciate? Because that's just like, it's odd.
A new thing. Otherwise, it's going to take me. I mean, LSF took like 8 years to get to this point. Okay, like I'm not going to wait another 8 years to make a new thing, and then yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What are your thoughts on snark communities on Reddit?
They're completely psychotic, and they're like one of the most crazy things I've seen on the internet in a while. And I don't know how Reddit just lets this stuff kind of happen. It's like as bad. It's almost as bad as like Kiwi Farms. I guess they don't like post people's phone numbers and doxes, I guess, because they'll get banned for that. But it's everything up to that point. I've been attacked on the H3 kind of leftover subreddit multiple times. Like every week I get a hate thread about me. I mean, not as much as H3, of course, but I'm still a bit of a target. So I hate them a lot.
It's funny you said in your original video that you want more help from Reddit for moderators. Was there ever any communication between you and people that worked at Reddit?
Yeah, I've had tons of communications with them, and that's why I'm so annoyed. Is that they I have brought these issues up to them many times over the years, including with conversations that I've had in person with Spez, the CEO. Part of the reason why I made this video directed at Spez is because he has given me his contact info. I've talked with him multiple times, and yeah, he's a smart guy and understands the issues. And so it's not that crazy, because like I live in SF.
Wait.
Including with I have brought these issues up to them many times over the years, including with conversations that I've had in person with Spez, the CEO.
If you've actually had conversations with this person, like even just on the phone, in person, whatever, it is then even more odd to have made a video directed at them rather than just trying to find another means of communication. Because surely in some way you could get in contact if you've literally been face to face in communication with him. That seems like you were probably of at least some importance. That is odd.
Part of the reason why I made this video directed at Spez is because he has given me his contact info. I've talked with him multiple times, and yeah, he's a smart guy and understands the issues. And so it's not that crazy because like I live in SF. If you go to the right parties, you go to the right events, you run into people. So.
Right. Have they ever offered you any help as a moderator for LSF?
Only very vague help. So there's a Reddit partner program, but it's kind of useless. And they make big promises like, yeah, sure, we'll help you with this, that, whatever, and then they just never fall through.
Did you see that the moderators for Leftovers H3, in a legal document that they filed, they claimed that employees at Reddit offer them VPN services?
Probably. I would not be surprised. So I have been offered, there's something called Optuary. So there's a free subscription that they give to all mods, which allows you to like delete information off of the internet about you. And so they probably.
Oh, if that isn't a troll and that's true, that's kind of fucking weird.
Probably. I would not be surprised. So I have been offered, there's something called Optuary. So there's a free subscription that they give to all mods, which allows you to like delete information off of the internet about you. And so they probably give them VPNs as well, but they give this to a lot of kind of mods who are, I don't think they like pick and choose. If you just say like, I'm worried about doxing, help me, they'll probably just help you, even if, in some sense they deserve to be targeted, if you want to call it that way.
Interesting. What do you think? Do you think that's appropriate for?
Yeah, that is. See, here's the thing. I can understand doing that for your staff, but doing it for random mods to offer them basically like anonymity services, like things to delete your data from, your PII from different websites, like that, it does feel a bit odd to me.
Reddit to offer these services to the moderators?
As a general high-level thing, yeah, I would say that their job as a company is to protect the moderators. Even if this is like the worst-case scenario of people who maybe don't deserve protection, but we'll say that 99% of the people do deserve and should get that protection, and therefore you can't just have a policy where you say like, well, I'm gonna.
Just saying everybody should have protection online is like, yeah, that's true to an extent. But I don't know. I also think that probably you should be smart and not commit crimes online. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, that's kind of the way I feel about it. Like, yeah, it's like when I'm in my own home on my computer, I should be able to commit crimes all I want. That kind of doesn't hold up. Like, there should obviously be, like, limitations to it and, like, ways in which these data can be stored appropriately without having major breaches like happen every fucking month at this point.
Help everybody except for you guys. You just can't. You can't do that.
Mm-hmm. This is just how the.
Yeah, and Reddit, that does show that Reddit thinks that people on Reddit may be harassed IRL. In real life, that is true. I think that. And like I'm saying, it would make sense, and like that does make sense for any like media platform like that would kind of make like social media platform. I could see that for like Reddit or Facebook or Meta or Instagram staff or Twitter. Like it would make sense because you probably don't want to risk those people that are just like the people that are on your payroll. So like that makes sense. But again, he never said that he was employed by Reddit. He's always just been talking from the perspective of a moderator. He was only offered that he was only employed by Twitch. At least from the things I've heard him say.
Show works, right? I just bounce around between question to question. Sure, totally. So hopefully you don't mind the whiplash here.
I like it.
In your original video, you said that the potential reality show would be the coolest thing any subreddit has ever done. What's the second coolest thing a subreddit has ever done?
It's all of the community kind of metas, we'll call it. So things like Our Place, like the original one or maybe the second one were very cool. Anytime we'll call it a We Did It Reddit moment, We used to have these a lot, actually. Like, even something like...
Now, here's the thing I really want to see, and then we're going to move on to the next video. Go check out Alex's interview with Stale2000. I'm going to finish it off on my own, too, but I don't want... It just came out, so I want to make sure everybody goes over and checks it out on their own as well. And then we're going to move on to the next thing. But this is the question I need to hear.
So, yeah.
Do you know what the reverse fade is?
No.
I gotta show it to you. It's a new hair trend for balding individuals. So let me pull up a photo and let me send that to you really quick. One moment. All right. This is the reverse fade.
Okay. I mean, it looks fine. I mean, it's still just like the guy's like bald, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But what I think is interesting is, although he's bald, that's a lot of effort to put in for a bald hairstyle. And I think people really appreciate when someone puts...
Alex is trying to be nice to him. I would have just straight up asked him, have you ever thought about doing something like this?
Even a little bit of effort into their hair like that. So I think that looks pretty cool.
Maybe. I think it's just kind of my image at this point, though.
It's his image. Okay. He's got to stick with his image.
But I mean, I am going to do like some fun stuff with AI. So we'll see. That'll be like the joke. That's my joke now.
All right.
My joke is just doing stuff with AI. Look, it's me with Goku hair. Is this a fully AI image? Because this almost doesn't look like him. He almost looks like a completely different person. The man bun. The classic. Did he give his own hairstyle a nah? Did he give his own hairstyle a nah?
Your normal photo. How do you feel about your current hairstyle?
It's at the nah. It's like it could use...
Okay, fair enough. At least he knows.
It could use some improvement, I would say. But I'm not into it enough to just rewrite my whole life over it.
It's not rewriting your whole life, dog. Getting a new haircut is not rewriting your whole life. Do not get that twisted.
He is...
Definitely go check out that interview. Great video. And then we're going to check this out. Let me see. Did the Piers Morgan thing ever go live? No, it hasn't. Might need to change my thumbnail and title. It does look like they're actually going to be going live soon. On the H3 channel, because they're doing their Tuesday show now. I'm probably going to stream through just a little bit of their stream. So feel free to stay here, jump over there, do whatever you want. Up to you. Come back later to my stream, give me a secondary view. That'd be cool too. But I do want to check this out. This is Can We Talk About Conspiracies? I actually was recommended this on my own as well as by chat. And so I forget, I don't remember who recommended it. I've got to be honest. Who was saying it? Was it Rum? Who was it? Was it Geppy? I don't remember who recommended this one. I'm going up. I'm checking. It was... Oh, no, it was Sem. Sorry, Sem. It's like the one person I didn't say. My bad. Oopsie. But yes. Can We Talk About Conspiracies by Clint's Reptiles? So we're going to check this out. I am interested. I remember I started it, but I didn't finish it because I was doing something. But this is a good opportunity, so let's check this out.
He is clearly, and for no stated reason, incredulous and skeptical of the mainstream explanation for the trails behind jets, and totally credulous and accepting of this alternative explanation. Neither of these guys have explained in any way why they don't accept the explanation of chemists, physicists, climate scientists, meteorologists, and basically everybody on Earth.
No, you're not forgettable. That's why I had to make sure. That's why I had to check. Something in my brain was telling me.
Have explained in any way why they don't accept the explanation of chemists, physicists, climate scientists, meteorologists, and basically everybody on Earth with any understanding of the science behind why clouds would form behind jets at high altitudes, or what evidence is lacking that would persuade them that the mainstream explanation is true. But instead have both glommed onto an alternative explanation that would require a conspiracy involving untold thousands of people to be involved without any leaks or whistleblowers, that involves jets spraying chemicals using invisible sprayers and cloud seeding on days without clouds to combat climate change that they potentially know isn't happening, or to cause droughts for the enemies of the United States.
Thinking that they're starting clouds from here.
Visible sprayers and cloud seeding on.
If this is genuinely, like, I'm assuming this is just some kind of smoke that's coming out of here. I don't know. Maybe it is some kind of vapor, but regardless, thinking that it would start here is completely ignorant of, like, the water cycle, like understanding how cloud formation happens. It is comical on some level. I don't know if he just pulled this clip from something random, but it's just crazy.
Days without clouds to combat climate change that they potentially know isn't happening, or to cause droughts for the enemies of the United States and NATO. And neither of them seem to be asking any questions that imply even the tiniest shred of skepticism about this explanation.
It's always the obvious questions that are so vigorously discouraged. And one of the questions that's been the most discouraged over the past 30 years are, what are those lines in the sky that you see trailing jets?
I just love the way that Tucker Carlson asks questions. There's a question that's been going around for ages. Why is my pee yellow? Why is it not always clear? You might think about it. You might wonder, what are they putting into the vaccines? It's like such a... Like, what are we talking about right now?
What is that? Some people call them chemtrails, claim that somehow the U.S. government is spraying poison on the population. Those people are clearly crazy. Wikipedia calls them crazy. Every news outlet calls them crazy. But the trails are still there. And it's clearly not water vapor, because that doesn't make sense at all. So what are they? We've spent the last 6 months trying to find someone credible who could explain that to us. A serious, sane person with an engineering background who could tell us, what are we looking at? Because we're looking at something. And I don't care what names you call me. I still want to know what.
And here would be my question is, I would like to know, here, I'm going to just look it up on the side. What is the actual number of chemtrails that happen around the world, not just in the U.S.? Because is this like an international conspiracy that is taking place?
What it is. And we think we have found that person. Dane Wigington of Northern California has been on this subject for almost 30 years and has compiled what we believe, after looking at it pretty carefully, is the most comprehensive account of what we're seeing. And it's very bad.
Well, hi there. This is pretty ominous. The lines that we often see trailing jets might be poison sprayed on the population.
Oh, thank you so much, Rum Tum Tuggard. Sent 1 Cabin Quasar gifted membership.
Look at the gifted sub.
God, I do this every time. Thank you for the gifted sub. I'll just say it myself. Thank you for the gifted sub. Bonks for me.
Look at the gifted sub.
Thank you so much. But yeah, I'm looking at it. Chemtrails, the conspiracy theory, started in the U.S., but it has reached as far as Indonesia. So that's I feel like that very much weakens the theory.
By the U.S. government, something called chemtrails. That's not good. And the mainstream explanation that they have something to do with water vapor apparently doesn't make sense at all. And now we're gonna learn what is going on. And it's very bad. This was sent to me recently by someone close to me who is sincerely concerned about this. And maybe for good reason. I mean, Wikipedia and every news outlet might call you crazy for being concerned, but that doesn't actually...
I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds. I just remembered. I make big batches of tea on the stove, of sweet tea. And I didn't have my black tea today. I was kind of mad. I had to use green tea. And I totally left the green tea in for like an hour just sitting there in the water. It happens.
I mean you're wrong. The reality is that conspiracies do happen all the time. A conspiracy is just a group of 2 or more people secretly planning something illegal or immoral. If the US government is secretly spraying poison on the US population, that would definitely qualify. And governments, even the US government, do lie. They do immoral and illegal things. The truth is that the meaning of the word conspiracy theory has been hijacked to some degree.
No, I don't have my tinfoil hat anymore. I had one for a while. I think I threw it out. It was pretty good. I could make one quick, but I'd be wasting all my tinfoil.
To make it...
I don't think I have that much left, to be honest.
Feel like anyone who...
Captain, can you be my new dad? Sure, why not? Of course I can. Don't know how much I can accomplish there, but I'll give you advice. I'll show you how to change a tire. I can show you how to cook eggs and chicken. And if you don't like those, I can teach you how to make a salad. Perfect.
Believes in conspiracies is a tinfoil hat wearing lunatic. But conspiracies do happen. The only question is this one of them? Well, let's hear a little bit more about what they have.
Oh, my cat, he's sleeping. Should I grab him? Should I wake him from his slumber?
To say.
Dane, thanks.
He does keep me up all night, every night. He wakes me up at like 2, 3 a.m. I was doing it to him earlier. I was just going, wah, wah. I was just doing that to him to see how he'd react. And he was sleeping on his side, and he just went and just started staring at me. I was like, you see how it feels? You see how it feels? Father Captain equals deeper voice. That's what happens. When you become a dad, it comes to you. No, don't wake him up. Oh, he rolled over. He's awake. I see his eyes are open. Hey, you. Hey. Hey. Hey, you. Hey. Hey, you. What's up? No, too tired? Okay. He closed his eyes again. Clint taught me that penguins aren't really penguins. What are penguins, like the descendants of the ancestral penguin or something?
A lot.
Tucker's logo looks like the Blue Diamond logo. It's pretty close. Use this one for reference. It's getting there. Just stretch it out a little bit. The Tucker Carlson Show. Blue Diamonds. Blue Diamond Almonds.
Lot for joining us. I never knew what to think of this topic, chemtrails or contrails, or the stripes in the sky that linger after airplanes pass. I don't remember the...
I had to change a tire while I was driving my friends home from a party, but I didn't know how to and had to be coached by one of my drunk friends. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be, right? Their body's gone, but their mind's still there. Your body's functional, but you don't have the knowledge for the specific task. You're working in harmony. You're moving as one unit. What he didn't tell me was I needed to take the wheel with me, and we left it there. When I came back the next morning, it was gone, and I had to spend like $2,000 on a new wheel. Ooh, yeah, because you left the rim. Ah, yeah. I know how to change a tire, and I don't even know how to drive a car. I know how to change a tire, but I still can't do it. Yeah, it is. If you haven't done it before, it definitely is a task, because you could also easily, if you don't do the jack right, you could easily crumple part of their frame. Well, not part of the frame, but part of the body. And that's a big mistake. But sorry, let's continue with the video.
Or the
I'm very sorry to hear that, though, Brett. I hope you're doing well after this.
Never knew what to think of this topic, chemtrails or contrails, or the stripes in the sky that linger after airplanes pass. I don't remember them as a child. They're very common now. I've heard people say there's something up, something nefarious going on. So I go to Wikipedia to see what they say, and I want to read you the Wikipedia entry, the first part of it on this question, okay? You may have seen this, and I'm quoting from Wikipedia as of this morning. The chemtrail conspiracy theory is the erroneous belief that long-lasting condensation trails left in the sky by high-flying aircraft are actually, quote,
So I was wondering, I imagine just air traffic was probably way down in that time as well. Major boom with nearly 100,000 new planes delivered between 1970. Plane facts in the 1970s. And don't we have like millions in the air at this point? Yeah, he said contrails, and then he had to be like, what are those lines in the sky? Because he realized when he said contrails, that's what they actually are. And he's like, we can't say that. Oops.
Trails consisting of chemical or biological agents sprayed for nefarious purposes undisclosed to the general public, period. Believers in this conspiracy theory say that while normal contrails dissipate relatively quickly, contrails that linger must contain additional substances. Those who subscribe to the theory speculate that the purpose of the chemical release may be solar radiation management, weather modification, psychological manipulation, human population control, biological or chemical warfare, or...
You know what I just realized too? Why is it looked like he's wearing like a red mask. Why is the top of his face so red, but then his chin is like super pale?
Testing of a biological or chemical agent on the population.
It's like he just had like a really thick like goatee, and he just shaved it all off before this interview.
And that the trails are warfare, or testing of a biological or chemical agent on the population, and that the trails are causing respiratory illnesses and other health problems. So I read that, and the purpose, of course, of that paragraph is not to...
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the increase in planes in the sky and the increase in cars has led to an increase in respiratory issues to the public. That goes without saying, regardless of chemical agents being added into contrails. I mean, come on. Like, that isn't a theory, that is just true. Adding this additional element to it is unnecessary. Because you could just talk, because it's like you don't want to actually deal with the true issue, which is like this, like places in the U.S. that you cannot exist without a car, just cars everywhere all the time, all over the road. Just like obviously. I don't know. It just seems like maybe there's more to it. Maybe I'm just not listening. I'm not hearing them out. He probably has high blood pressure. True.
Illnesses and other health problems. So I read that, and the purpose, of course, of that paragraph is not to illuminate what this might be, but to attack anyone who speculates about what it might be. It's a form.
Oh, okay. I think there's a light. I think there's like a light shining in on just his chin, because I swear when he moved down a little bit, the light like moved up, the paleness. That makes it even more confusing, to be honest. Why does he not have even lighting on himself?
Itself of psychological warfare of...
Or maybe not, never mind. I think I'm imagining things. It's the chemtrails, they're getting into my brain. Sorry, let me ignore his pale ass chin and let me actually pay attention to the substance of what they're talking about.
The trails are causing respiratory illnesses and other health problems. So I read that, and the purpose, of course, of that paragraph is not to illuminate what this might be, but to attack anyone who speculates about what it might be. It's a form itself of psychological warfare of propaganda. And when I read that, I said to myself, there's clearly something going on, because the people who control Wikipedia, which would be the intel agencies, as we know, don't want anyone to talk about this.
No, it was his computer. Okay. It was his computer light. Turn your brightness down, dude. Or get some more like front lights on you so you can be brightened up. There we go. There's his red tomato head that we all love so much.
Okay, so he reads the Wikipedia page, which he suggests is controlled by the intel agencies, and concludes that what it says is there to discourage anyone from discussing the trails in the sky that he claims not to remember as a child. Tucker Carlson was born in 1969, just to give us a rough estimate of when that was. This video is sponsored by our friends at Raycon.
Ray J was in the Epstein files, was he? Ray J said he was gonna be the new Diddy. I don't actually know if Ray J's in the Epstein files. That was just a joke. That part was just a joke. Oh, now I'm not going to be able to find it. He was born in 69, LOL. Literally laugh out loud. LMAO. ROFL. Copter. Didn't Ray J die or something? Did he? Ray J death. He did not. He is not dead. He had a severe health updates regarding a serious heart condition following a hospitalization for pneumonia. Oh. They tried to get him. Not gonna lie, I actually do own Raycons though. I also don't think Ray J. Oh. Co-founded the consumer electronic brand Raycon in 2017, along Ray Lee. In March 2024, Ray J sold his entire stake in Raycon. You can buy Raycons all you want. You can buy Raycons all you want now. Ray J probably in the Diddy files. Wouldn't be surprised.
Now the holidays are over, it's the perfect time to upgrade your gear for the new year. Whether you're getting back into a routine or setting new fitness goals, Raycon's bone conduction headphones are a perfect fit. And right now, Raycon is ringing in the new year with a sale. So it's a great...
I think he's in the Diddy files. Watch, I'm talking about this right now, and now he's going to have a heart attack because he's dealing with some heart condition. If so, RIP. If not, he was friends with Diddy. Even if he did RIP, he was still friends with Diddy, though. That's my statement. If Ray J died during this, RIP Ray J. He's still colluded with Kris Kardashian, Kris Jenner, in the sex tape with Kim Kardashian, and said that she saw the sex tape before it went public. So he definitely in some weird shit. Before we start this video, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Raycons. I actually have a pair of Raycons, and I love them. I usually use them when I'm at the gym or I'm at home playing Minecraft. So true. You can stop anytime you want. No, it's fine. Orlando Brown already outed him as going to the Diddy parties. I believe it. I believe everything Orlando Brown says. Not to say that he shouldn't be trusted, but he said some wild shit as well.
Great time to grab them. Raycon's bone conduction headphones use off-ear audio, sending sound through gentle vibrations in your bones instead of blocking your ears. That means that your ears stay open and aware of the world around you while you still get crystal clear music, podcasts, or calls. They're also built for all-day use with up to 13 hours of battery life and an IP68 waterproof and dustproof rating, so they can handle sweat, rain, and outdoor adventures. Raycon delivers premium performance without the premium price tag. Quality that rivals big audio brands, but at a much more affordable cost. With over 3 million happy customers and a 30-day happiness guarantee, you really can't go. 20%.
Bottom line is, when we have up-close film footage of these
in the sky that we have all seen.
There's sprayed particulate dispersion. There is no theory in this equation. Bottom line is, when we have up-close film.
Okay, it does look like they went live, but I'm still going to be here. Man, they went with the H3 method and started live. Started live late. Started live. What does that even mean? Was that 8 minutes ago? No, it was like 1 second ago. It's like 1 minute ago.
Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Film footage of these.
We don't get Dan's 2. We get David's starting in 5, 4. We get the full countdown with David. I like this. I like this new style. He looks like he hated these earbuds. Hey, you win some, you lose some. What, look at this. Look how happy he is. What are you talking about? But here, let's get back into this. I am going to be continuing. We're going to at least finish this video. We might not get to the Piers Morgan thing if it doesn't get posted. But if it does get posted tomorrow, we'll watch it tomorrow. If it gets posted Thursday, we'll watch it on Friday because gaming stream Thursday. Maybe we'll watch it on Thursday. Who knows? But let's continue with this.
I will turn it over to you to explain what are these lines in the sky that we have all seen.
There's sprayed particulate dispersion. There is no theory in this equation. Bottom line is, when we have up-close film footage of these aircraft at altitude, KC-10s, KC-135s, C-17 Globemasters, with nozzles visible turning dispersions on and off. This is not, quote, condensation. Geoengineeringwatch.org is the only entity that has taken a NOAA Flying Lab National Oceanic and Atmospheric.
Well, at the end of the day, it is a theory unless you can actually identify what it is that they're letting out. Like, and can you show us images? I don't know. Tucker Carlson's doing this like big interview. Does he show any like images, any proof of this?
Administration Flying Lab, top scientists in it, to sample what these heavy aircraft are emitting at altitude. That sample was processed at Rensselaer Polytechnic in New York, one of the world's most renowned testing institutions. We found exactly what we knew we would find, starting with aluminum nanoparticles.
So the claim is that these trails behind jets are unequivocally sprayed particulate dispersions. And as Tucker suggested earlier, this is not condensation. We have video of KC-10s, KC-130s, and C-17 Globemasters with nozzles turning dispersions on and off. A NOAA Flying Lab even recorded what these heavy aircraft are emitting at altitude, and it was what they suspected all along: aluminum nanoparticles. Why aluminum nanoparticles?
Bioavailable freeform aluminum is toxic to all life, period. That element is named in numerous climate engineering patents as part of a geoengineering dispersion element. So again, there's no theory involved in any of this. And what's so incredibly profound in this equation, Tucker, you have the entire global climate science community, governments all over the world saying we need to put aircraft in the air immediately to disperse light scattering particles.
So aluminum nanoparticles are toxic. They're also named in multiple geoengineering patents. This isn't a theory. The entire global climate science community and governments all over the world are saying that we need to put aircraft into the air to disperse light scattering particles immediately. But why?
So again, this elephant in the sky that we're told is a conspiracy theory is exactly what the entire global climate science community says we need to deploy immediately to slow down the warming of the planet. Stated purpose to deflect some of the sun's incoming thermal energy. We know these programs, not surprisingly, are making a bad situation worse, not better. And, Tucker, they're being used as a form of warfare. And we know that. We have countries like Iran.
The way Tucker hits that little warfare, it's like just a no.
Used as a form of warfare. And we know that. We have countries like Iran, constantly demonized, of course, as you well know, immediately after.
Why was I muted that time? Why was I even muted that time? I didn't mute myself. I think I might have hit M. Was that what it was? I hit a button on the computer. God damn it. I don't even know what I didn't say before. He said geoengineering. Sorry, he said geoengineering. What I was trying to say was, God damn it.
Tucker, they're being used as a form of warfare. And we know that. We have countries like Iran, constantly demonized, of course, as you well know. Immediately after 9/11, we have the list.
I forgot what I was going to say, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point. I'm going to go back a little bit, make sure that if I did miss anything that I was going to say. Did you? Oh my God! Did you guys hear when I was talking about that he's not showing any like relevant like data to like support these claims? Because I get Clint is just letting the claims being stated first, but I'm putting it on Tucker on the fact that he isn't actually identifying what these like what the facts in these claims are, as well as just willing to like go along with it, like the looking the way he just looks, he turns his head. He goes like, as soon as the guy says it's being used as warfare, and he just goes. It's like, don't feed into it. Like, actually start breaking down. What are you talking? What do you mean warfare? What do you continue with that line of thinking? What are we talking about?
Endured a once in 1,000 year drought. Statistically, mathematically, that's impossible without climate.
And I've said this before, and this is probably my worst quality, is that me and Tucker Carlson have the same birthday, I'm pretty sure. Except I wasn't born in 1969. I wish. Born in 69? That's so funny. Yes, we have the same birthday. Not the same birth date.
Climate intervention operations, and we have the leader of Iran on the floor of the UN, on film, on the record, stating NATO was cutting off their precipitation. We have Iranian top scientists recently stating NATO's been doing this for 40 years. Destabilize the food supply by destabilizing the rain, and you destabilize the population.
So you just said a bunch of amazing things, all of which I just want to say sound plausible to me.
There's no way that you can even comprehend half of the stuff that he's saying, because even when Clint, I just called him Clit, even when Clint is reiterating it, it's still like so confusing, because yes, he also kind of didn't explain the why that well. Because he's saying it's reflecting everything about it was so complicated. How are you going to say it all seems plausible to me? With you just saying that, hey, all the governments and scientists agree with you. I was born April 1st, 1967.
Said a bunch of amazing things, all of which I just want to say sound plausible to me.
Apparently, there are two reasons. First, their stated reason is to slow down the warming of the planet. Second, as a form of warfare to control precipitation and inflict drought on the enemies of the United States. To which Tucker declares that this all seems plausible to him. So,
that explanation is still just that's not a why. Oh, they want a 1,000 year drought. A once in 1,000 year. It just doesn't make. Yeah, that is all still just so confusing. I don't understand how plausible falls into that in any way. Seems legit. Sounds about right.
Is this all plausible? Because I will tell you that this is all possible. It is possible that there is a secret government conspiracy to spray poisonous particulate aluminum from jets to deflect the sun and control precipitation.
That spans thousands, possibly millions of people. You know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people across all, sectors to keep this ploy up. It's just... And again, it's to what end is still kind of in question.
Motive is all there. Is the government concerned with climate change? Yes. Would it be potentially beneficial to control weather in such a way that it benefits the United States and its allies and harms its enemies? Yeah. And research clearly has been done into all of the technologies required to do just that. But when we see the contrails in the sky, is that what we're seeing?
It's just modern day Agent Orange. That's all it is. They're not contrails. Oh, he's awake. Good morning. Good morning. You tired to speak? What's up? What's up, Bubba? What's up? He's so tired. He's okay. Why are you so tired? Oh yeah? Just a little meow. Okay. Those happen sometimes. I get it. Let me put you down. Just made a grumble noise. Grumbling? Hey, grumbling. Come on here. He's tired. Yeah. Oh, don't huff. I'm sorry. He's chilling. He's probably gonna go eat some food now because he just woke up.
Because just because you might benefit from something illegal or immoral, that doesn't mean that you planned it and carried it out. Does that make sense? I feel that this is a place where a lot of people get lost in conspiracy theories. Just because there is a motive, that doesn't mean that there was a crime. And many people that believe in a lot of conspiracies refer to themselves as truth seekers. But I often see them not doing two things that any rational seeker of truth must do. First, while it is totally fine and in fact necessary for a truth seeker to be skeptical of mainstream narratives, they must be equally skeptical of counter-narratives. I often see overwhelming skepticism of the mainstream narrative, but next to no skepticism about the counter-explanations, no matter how far-fetched they may be, especially if they come from someone you trust, someone in your tribe. And second, while it is good to be skeptical of mainstream narratives, to be a genuine and rational seeker of truth, you must identify what evidence that is reasonably possible to obtain could convince you to accept the mainstream explanation. If your requirement is for evidence that couldn't possibly exist, or there is no evidence that could ever persuade you, then you're beyond reason. You're not a seeker of truth at all. You're just a person who rejects whatever is widely accepted simply because it's accepted. So with those two...
Yeah, and it's just all the people that search for, it's people that search for like data that supports their preconceived notion. We talked about it before. It's just anchoring bias, that whole idea that people, want things that support the claims that they already believe. So they're going to just ignore everything else and because of that anchor bias.
Two things in mind. Let's examine these claims. And let's start with the mainstream explanation for the elephant in the sky. Contrails. Now we know that.
And it's clearly not water vapor because that doesn't make sense at all.
This is not, quote, condensation.
But do we know that? This is effectively the mainstream explanation, that jets flown at high altitude frequently produce trails that are principally related to water condensation and rapid freezing. So does this not make sense at all? I mean, why would we think that water vapor trails would form and linger following jets flying at high altitude? And while we're at it, why might you see them more today than when Tucker was a child? If you're not interested in questions like these, I would argue that you aren't really a seeker of truth, but rather some form of a motivated skeptic. Now, in a world where clouds didn't exist, or where we didn't have the experience of seeing our breath and vapor clouds from cars in the winter, it would be easier to dismiss these explanations out of hand. But the reality is that we do see water vapor in the air when it's cold in ways that we don't see it when it's warmer. Of course, it doesn't last as long as contrails behind jets, but at high altitudes, where it is very cold, we do see clouds of water vapor remaining for periods of time like those we observe from jets. So how are clouds different from wintertime condensation, and is it plausible that such clouds could be generated by jet aircraft? I'll start by saying how they're similar. Cold air can hold less moisture than can warm air. Thus, the amount of water vapor in air that is 100% saturated at 70 degrees is more than the amount of water vapor in air that is 100% saturated at 40 degrees. And way more than the amount of vapor that can be held in air that is 100% saturated at negative 40 degrees Celsius. Thus, if you take highly saturated warm air, like you might find in your lungs or the exhaust of a car engine, and introduce it into cold air, the extra water vapor in the warm air will leave the air rapidly as it...
See, I've always, I guess, I feel like this is like an intuitive thing you can kind of figure out, but actually hearing the explanation as to why you have, like, why you can see your breath in the cold is so interesting and is, like, completely necessary for this explanation, because it's such like a basic thing that, like, yeah, everybody should kind of understand that. But then people that don't understand contrails are having the issue.
Cools, assuming that there is some particle present in the air onto which the vapor can condense, a condensation nuclei. Depending on how saturated the cold air is, that condensation may be visible for more or less time. The less saturated the cold air, the more quickly it will dissipate. But no matter how saturated the air, it won't last too long, unless that air is extremely cold, like below negative 40 Celsius in most cases. In this case, the tiny water droplets that you would see at warmer temperatures turn directly to ice, microscopic ice crystals, which can linger in the air much longer than similarly sized water droplets. This isn't a perfect explanation. This is far outside of my expertise, and my ability to explain it is limited. You can take it up with a physicist or climate scientist if you want more precision, but this is a bit of an explanation of how clouds form. So could jet exhaust cause a cloud to form? Well, if you're familiar with car exhaust or combustion reactions, then you will know that combustion generates water and condensation nuclei. So internal...
Trust me, I've seen on a cold winter night somebody start up their car and fill the parking lot with some clouds, let's say.
Combustion engines make heat, water vapor, and condensation nuclei. All of the ingredients for cloud formation, except for negative 40 degree air. And jet engines are powered by combustion reactions. And jets fly at altitudes where the air is often negative 40 or colder. So if they aren't going to make clouds in their wakes, somebody would have to explain to me why not. You can say that doesn't make sense at all, but unless I simply have more faith in you than in chemistry and physics, I don't know why I would believe you. It makes perfect sense. And if you still have doubts, test the hypothesis a little. Do you see them more often, for example, at lower altitudes when it is colder than when it's warmer? Do they dissipate faster in places that are dry than where it is humid if the temperatures are the same? You can gather this data yourself. You don't need to trust me. And why would Tucker not remember seeing them as a child? There are probably a lot of possible explanations, but one is that every day there are about 18 times as many jet flights as there were when Tucker was born. And they fly at higher altitudes where the air is colder than they did when...
That's what I was trying to look up right now, is to figure out what the actual difference is in altitudes. I'm only looking at records right now. Those are hot air balloons. Sorry, I'm like looking at this on the side, trying to understand the differences. And I guess there isn't much. There isn't necessarily a huge jump, but I guess I'd need to see what the actual... These are just... What I'm looking at is like the records at that point. I'd need to see the averages of flight altitudes across the years to actually make an assessment of that. But everything else he's stated seems right, but I'm going to give him the same criticism I gave Tucker Carlson, that, just throw it up on screen to give us a little bit more confidence of that, because I did look it up, and there obviously were way less planes flying, but I need to see like the altitude differences, and then also like the temperatures at those altitudes to make that further assessment.
Tucker was born. So they should have existed, but they also should have been much, much less common than today. So does it make sense for jets flying at high altitudes to produce long, thin clouds in their wakes? Yes. So is there any reason to doubt the mainstream explanation for contrails? I don't really see one. But that doesn't mean that the government isn't also spraying toxic aluminum into the atmosphere to reflect sunlight and to control the weather. So even though there is nothing particularly implausible about the mainstream explanation, let's take a brief look at the evidence so far presented in support of the government conspiracy explanation. And we'll start at the beginning, where his expert guest...
Yeah, that is interesting too, because it looks like planes probably reach where it would be the coolest at the highest altitude before it starts reaching like a warmer temperature again. It is interesting. Sorry, no, science is too much. I was never that good at science, I've got to be honest. I was better at math.
Guest, Dane Wigington, informed us in no uncertain terms that the trails are not clouds forming at temperatures below negative 40 degrees Celsius when hot air containing moisture and condensation nuclei are emitted by jet engines, but rather sprayed particulate dispersion.
There is no theory in this equation.
Which I assume means that this is a fact. There is no room for doubt about what's going on, because we have video of KC-10s, KC-130s, and C-17 Globemasters with visible nozzles turning dispersions on and off. And we do have footage of military aircraft like these with visible nozzles spraying. Here's some of that footage. This is a KC-130, one of the aircraft that he referenced. It's a propeller plane, not a jet like the other two, which are both jets. And you can see the nozzles. You can see them spray. This program exists. It's public knowledge. So there is no theory in that, I suppose. But is that what we are seeing when we see cloud-like trails behind jets? Well, that should be an easy hypothesis to test. All it would require is a jet leaving a trail in the sky and a good telescope, telephoto lens, or pair of binoculars. First, does the aircraft have propellers? If not, then it isn't a KC-130. Does it have windows? If so, then it isn't a KC-10 or C-17 Globemaster. Second, can you see any of these nozzles? He said the nozzles are visible, so are there any visible nozzles? Do the trails go right back to the aircraft, or do they require some time to form behind the aircraft as the air cools? Do the trails correspond to the number of nozzles or the number of jet engines? I am not doubting that the US military has aircraft with the capacity to spray stuff. There is no theory in that. That's a matter of public record. But the hypothesis is that such aircraft are the source of the white...
It's all Agent Orange. They're spraying Agent Orange on the American population. What are you, just a crazy liberal? You don't understand.
Trails in the sky produced by aircraft generally. It's an easily testable hypothesis. And if you have more resources, get a jet. Inspect it carefully for spraying equipment and then fly it under conditions that are generating trails for other jets at the same time. Did your jet make them too? That takes more than a good lens to do, but this is an easy experiment to run. One of these nations that claims that the US is changing their weather would definitely have the resources to do it, so do it. It can be done. If you want the truth, this is not a hard hypothesis to test. Have we seen military aircraft turn on and off spray from visible nozzles? Yes. Is that what we see if we look at jets producing trails in the sky? That's the question. Okay, but let's suppose that it isn't just military aircraft with visible nozzles. What if it's also jets that look like civilian aircraft, or even all civilian aircraft with highly disguised nozzles? Well, then we are greatly enlarging the size of the conspiracy. These jets all need to be outfitted with large tanks that need to be refilled regularly, as well as the plumbing, nozzles, and pumps required to do the spraying, which would require thousands of airline mechanics, refilling technicians, aircraft engineers, aircraft manufacturers, and more to be in on the conspiracies. Conspiracies can and do happen, but those that go undetected for long periods of time tend to involve rather few people. Where are the whistleblowers? I'm sure Tucker would be happy to give them a platform. It's not impossible, but if I'm being at all skeptical of alternative explanations, that one seems unlikely. But then why are jets emitting aluminum nanoparticles? Well, for one, their engines are largely made of aluminum and involve extreme temperatures and friction. So I would be surprised if they are not emitting aluminum nanoparticles. But he referenced a study done by a website called geoengineeringwatch.org using a NOAA flying lab. He didn't say how many nanoparticles they detected or any other such details, but he did say that they have found aluminum nanoparticles. I'm sure more details are provided on that website. Now, for starters, NOAA has made no such claims, nor is there any independent verification of such a collaboration ever occurring to my knowledge. So take it with a grain of salt. But NOAA has done surveys of atmospheric aluminum nanoparticles. The only significant source of such particles that they detected was from objects like satellites and rocket bodies burning up on re-entry into our atmosphere, not from jet exhaust or contrails. This could also be a lie, but it now involves even more people. The people of NOAA, as well as most of the world's chemists, physicists, meteorologists, and climate scientists, just to get us started. For some reason, Tucker said he was looking for someone with an engineering background to talk about all of this. But that is like saying that Bill Nye is more qualified to talk about science because of his engineering background than he would be if he had a science background. I suspect that he wasn't looking for someone with an engineering background, but rather that this guy happened to have one. But maybe he has his reasons. Either way, I simply don't know enough about this study, how or if it was conducted, and exactly what they found. But there are aluminum nanoparticles in the atmosphere. I'm just not sure the trails behind jets have much to do with them. And so far, he hasn't given me any reason to suspect that they do. This claim has only broadened the number of highly qualified potential whistleblowers that are successfully keeping this giant secret. Not impossible, but increasingly unlikely. But ignoring the fact that this claim is highly unverified by any outside organization, are his claims that aluminum nanoparticles are toxic, named by multiple geoengineering patents, and advocated by the entire global climate science community and governments all over the world for immediate deployment, true? Well, aluminum nanoparticles are harmful to many forms of life, ourselves included.
Well, I can buy 250 grams of it for less than $1,000. Let's go. I was looking up stuff about it online. I just saw this and I was like, what? Okay. Time to buy some aluminum nano powder. Yay!
In high quantities. But they also could potentially work to cool the planet, just like volcanic eruptions and asteroid impacts. Ejecting light-deflecting particles into the atmosphere can cool the planet. I have no reason to doubt that the patents exist or that the technology would work. But if the entire global climate science community and governments all over the world were on board with their immediate deployment, do you know what we'd be doing? Deploying them. And there would be no need to keep it secret. Everyone with a significant voice in the decision would be on board. And I will add that many people claim that climate change is a hoax to justify controlling human behavior and population. Well, if that's the case, why would there be a giant secret conspiracy to combat it? I don't know this for sure, but I bet those patents involved water also. But does that mean that the water in the atmosphere was put there to combat climate change? And the reality is that there isn't unanimous support for deploying such measures at this point in time. While it might work to mitigate the problem of climate change, the potential downsides are massive. It could have considerable unintended consequences, such as to human health, biodiversity, and to...
The conspiracy theory I believe is that the government pays homeless people with Taco Bell gift cards to gang stock internet celebrities like me. You know, I think they're coming for you, internet tough guy. They just had another Gordita Crunch. You're going to need to get out of there. They're on their way.
To the planet itself. Many we know, and likely countless that we don't. It's like a global cane toad. Yes, it might solve your problem, but it is likely to cause more problems than it solves. You wouldn't want to deploy it unless you had no other options. So yes, high levels of aluminum nanoparticles are potentially detrimental on a number of levels. Yes, they are likely involved in many geoengineering patents, as they would work for that purpose. No, there is no widespread consensus that we should deploy them among the global climate science community or governments all over the world. And because there is no consensus, it is going to be difficult to get the entire global climate science community and governments all over the world to hide what you are doing if you decide to do it anyway. Not impossible, but the scale of this conspiracy is becoming enormous. But what about his other explanation? That it has something to do with inflicting drought on the geopolitical adversaries of the United States. And I'll start by saying that it is possible to use aircraft to drop condensation nuclei such as silver or potassium iodide, dry ice, or even table salts onto clouds to induce rainfall. This is called cloud seeding. And it is generally done with airplanes.
Cloud seeding! They're making clouds!
Or even large cannons from the ground, not large jets flying at altitude.
Look at, they're making clouds right there.
When it does involve planes, they are flying above specific types of clouds and dropping the nuclei. They aren't just dumping it out into the air on blue sky days. So this isn't what cloud seeding looks like. And cloud seeding isn't a clandestine operation. So while the possibility remains that the United States may use it as a weapon, I don't see any evidence that the white lines behind jets have anything to do with it. But what about the droughts?
Well, and that's the most interesting part, right? Because he's kind of outlining the fact that it's like there is a possibility here. There are things that could happen and we need to be aware of them. But it's like it's bad to jump the gun and just make these assumptions, because what you're doing is like kind of closing the door on a bunch of other things that could possibly take place, because you're too busy thinking about your about vaping up clouds out of machines.
I looked up this supposed list of countries. It was Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Iran, Somalia, and Sudan. And they all have experienced some periods of extreme drought in recent decades, which would be pretty crazy if they were located at different places all over the world. But they aren't. They're all clustered together. It's like finding out that Austria, Italy, France, Germany, and Poland all experienced a drought at the same time. It would be crazy if they weren't all packed together. But given that droughts don't know about national borders, I think we're talking about one drought, not 5 separate droughts. So Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Iran, Somalia, and Sudan.
I would argue there is a big gap here, but I guess those are a lot of the coastal countries though as well. Like Sudan doesn't really have a large. But Somalia, interesting. It is interesting. I will say that. But I guess that's like where the conspiracy comes from, though, right? You just have to actually look at what the weather is like in these different regions, and you'd probably be able to find similarities and differences. But I could see how somebody looks at this and just on its face value goes, "What do you mean, though? They are separated. Look at this big gap in the middle. It's because they didn't want to do anything to Israel, so they had to give it. They didn't want to hurt Saudi Arabia either." They love Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Just watch. Just wait and see.
All experience droughts. Well, a drought. And nations not on that list, like Israel, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, also experience droughts at the same time.
But.
He says that statistically, mathematically, that's impossible, which makes me question his credentials as an engineer. It's impossible for a once in 1,000 year drought to occur once during a time of observable climate change? No, it isn't. And again, if you don't think that climate change is real, then neither is the need for a secret government program to combat it. I'm not saying that the United States or NATO cannot possibly be behind this drought, but it is far from statistically, mathematically impossible. Because we're talking about one drought, not 7 droughts. But I want to go back to Tucker. Because after all of this, he points out that this guy just said a bunch of amazing things that all seem plausible to him. Which is interesting given that his explanation that the trails behind jets at high altitude being water vapor doesn't make sense at all. He is clearly, and for no stated reason, incredulous and skeptical of the mainstream explanation for the trails behind jets, and totally credulous and accepting of this alternative explanation. Neither of these guys have explained in any way why they don't accept the explanation of chemists, physicists, climate scientists, meteorologists, and basically...
Because I'm not going to listen to a group of dorks. I'm going to listen to this cool guy who's in a button-up shirt who's talking against the system. Look at you, Clint, with your tie and... is it a chameleon pin? I wasn't focusing on it. You think you look reputable?
Everybody on Earth with any understanding of the science behind why clouds would form behind jets at high altitudes.
You know what's funny? He didn't even say incredulous. He said credulous, which is even crazier. He threw that one out. It's a good one. You usually hear people say incredulous, but he had to show you. He said there's a root word here you weren't looking at.
Or what evidence is lacking that would persuade them that the mainstream explanation is true. But instead of both glommed onto an alternative explanation that would require a conspiracy involving untold thousands of people to be involved without any leaks or whistleblowers, that involves jets spraying chemicals using invisible sprayers and cloud seeding on days without clouds to combat climate change that they potentially know isn't happening, or to cause droughts for the enemies of the United States and NATO. And neither of them seem to be asking any questions that imply even the tiniest shred of skepticism about this explanation. This isn't how an honest seeker of truth operates. I'm not here to tell you that they're wrong. Their explanations could end up being right. Again, conspiracies do happen. But if you care about the truth, then you must be just as skeptical of counter-narratives as you are.
You know what's funny? Maybe people just misinterpreted what the word cloud seeding meant. Maybe they heard cloud seeding and they're like, oh, they're planting seeds for clouds. They're creating clouds. And it's like, no. They're seeding the clouds so they can get more precipitation. They can get more like rainfall and snowfall and stuff. I wonder if that's literally where it comes from. It's just people misinterpreting what the seeding element of cloud seeding actually means.
Of mainstream narratives. They aren't. At least they haven't shown any of that skepticism whatsoever to this point. And you must identify what evidence that is reasonably possible to obtain would convince you to accept the mainstream explanation if it exists. They haven't. Which implies, at least so far, that they aren't honest and rational seekers of truth. Now, there's almost an hour left on this interview. Maybe all of that changes. And I don't discourage you from watching the whole thing if you want. Maybe they didn't lead with their best arguments. Maybe Tucker challenges some of these assertions later. But if you watch the rest, keep those two things in mind. And regarding the second thing, the evidence that could persuade you, I want to talk for just a moment about the moon landing.
And honestly, I would be interested in a conversation about if cloud seeding, like actual cloud seeding, is beneficial or detrimental, because that would be an interesting conversation as well. Because it's like they're doing it to increase precipitation, to increase like rainfall, but should we be making attempts to control the weather in these ways, or should we just allow the weather to, act as crazy as it is? It's that question, right, of like, would stopping earthquakes actually help or hurt or hinder something else? Would it end up like hindering us in some other way? Cause some other major issues? Probably. That's a big example, but you get what I'm saying. It's like in theory, you'd think, okay, we can stop the shifting of tectonic plates somehow. Again, bad example, but it would clearly cause some other issues. Should we just accept a drought? Well, that's the thing, is it's like yes and no. I don't know. We should figure out ways to not, die of thirst. But I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about cloud seeding to know if it's detrimental in any way. It could just be fine. But that conversation, I think, would probably be more interesting than going, what are those lines in the sky? What do those ones mean?
Landings. Decades ago, I watched a well-produced documentary casting doubt on whether or not we landed on the moon. And it left me with some real doubt. The reality is that there was a real motive for the United States to fake the moon landing. The United States was, at that time, in the middle of
the space race,
an existential crisis called the Cold War with the Soviet Union. And the Soviets had been winning about every...
Oh yeah, the Cold War. Oh, that too.
Battle in the space race. It could easily have been the fact that the United States either found out that getting a man to the moon was either impossible, or that...
Isn't China setting up a base on the far side of the moon now?
Even if it were possible, there was no way that they could get there before the Soviets. In such a case, it would not have been an outlandish proposition to win the space race by faking...
They want to have a lunar base on the South Pole by 2035 and expanded version by 2045, collaborating with Russia and partners like Pakistan and Venezuela. They're about to have a moon laser they're going to use on the US. They're about to fucking moon laser us, guys. That's why they're doing it on the dark side of the moon. They're doing... Fuck.
What couldn't be done for real. I think a lot of patriotic Americans would be willing to get behind such an effort. So the motive was there. But again, just because there's a motive, that doesn't mean that there was a crime. So maybe the US faked it. And maybe they went to the moon. The key is to be just as skeptical of both possibilities. But then I asked myself, what evidence, if it existed, would convince me that the US likely did go to the moon? Now, obviously, if I could have tracked the spacecraft going to and returning from the moon, that would be pretty convincing. It probably would have been easier in the 1960s to get a manned craft to and from the moon than an unmanned craft. But I wasn't alive then. But if we went to the moon, there should be parts of lunar landers, lunar rovers, and other large pieces of equipment, as well as disturbances from landing on and leaving from the lunar surface. Unfortunately, no telescope on Earth is powerful enough to see that far at that resolution. So I would have to get closer to the moon, but I don't have a space program. So since I wasn't alive to track the flights in real time, and I don't have the space program required to see the evidence that should be on the moon, if we really did go to the moon, and I can't trust the United States.
Well, and isn't like the whole thing is I think the more interesting theory about the moon landing isn't that we didn't go to the moon, but it's the fact that they could have filmed the moon landing prior as an attempt to have footage available had their like trip failed. I remember hearing that at some point. That was like a theory that was posited.
States or its space program, who could have tracked the flights? Or has a space program that could have seen the evidence up close? Well, in 2007, Japan sent a probe to the moon. They even told us that this was going to happen when I watched that documentary. And I was like, this will answer that question. Now, unfortunately, this probe, called Selene, did not have the resolution to confirm or deny the presence of artifacts of the lunar missions on the moon's surface. But it did confirm that many images supposedly taken on the moon's surface during the moon landings were exceedingly accurate with regards to the appearance of many lunar landscapes as viewed from the moon itself, as well as terrain disturbances in the location where the supposed Apollo 15 lunar module, the Falcon, would have blasted off. India's Chandrayaan-1 probe verified the finding about the soil disturbances at the supposed Apollo 15 site. And in 2021, their Chandrayaan-2 orbiter sent back clear images of the Apollo 11 lunar module descent stage. So not only are there disturbances in the right places, and not only did NASA correctly simulate actual lunar landscapes, but there is hardware on the moon itself. In 2023, South Korea's Danuri probe sent images of the Apollo 11 and Apollo 17 landers. And in real time, multiple people and organizations with no ties to the United States government recorded having observed the flights to some point with telescopes and especially with radio tracking. Of course, while this would require a conspiracy of enormous proportions, all of these nations, space agencies, organizations, and people could be in on it. They may all agree that defeating the Soviets and communism were more important than the truth. It's a stretch, but possible. But who wouldn't be in on it? How about the communists and the Soviets themselves? Because if they're in on it, if they're part of the conspiracy to pretend that the United States went to the moon, then what was the motive for the US to fake it? If anything, it would...
You don't understand.
Behoove the Soviets and other communist nations to claim that the US...
Yeah, see, that's always the problem with these major US, or not major US, just major like world conspiracies is like when you talk about like an elite shadow government or like whatever, there's too many people at play. Like there's too many factors and people that are doing things where like somebody would snitch, somebody would rat on something, regardless of how many people they keep quiet and cover the mouths of and pay off and have killed or whatever. Like eventually something would get out, but maybe that's exactly what they want us to believe. That's what they want us to think.
Didn't go even if they had evidence that they did. So if they claim that the US didn't, well, that should be taken with a grain of salt. But if they claim that they did, why would they lie? Well, China sent a probe in 2010, and while they haven't published the photos, they claim to have seen traces of the landings, including the lunar rover. And the Soviets reported that they tracked the missions both going to and returning from the moon in real time. Like, I wish I could have. So while there's always room to doubt, I can hardly imagine better evidence that the United States went to the moon at this point in time. At the end of the day, I don't care what you think. You likely know many things that I do not, and are probably right about a lot of things I would get wrong. But hopefully this helps you a little bit with how to examine evidence and...
Yeah, like, did you know that the tallest man to ever live was Robert Wadlow, standing at 8 foot 11.5 inches tall? He never actually made it to 9 feet.
ask questions if you care about the truth.
To be fair, I feel like Clint is the type of guy to know that.
And I hope you do. As always, like and subscribe, and we hope to see you real soon. I just want to tell you guys really quickly that the Patreon extras video for...
What a guy. Okay. I think this is where I'm going to end it off for today. I did have some other things we could talk about. I was going to see, let me see if one more chance. I'm going to have to switch the title and thumbnail now. Still nothing of Ethan Klein. Maybe they were joking. Maybe it was all a lie. Maybe it was all fake. This is fraud. But if it pops up tomorrow, or if it pops up later today, I guess I'll watch it tomorrow during the stream before the H3 show regularly. But if not, then I'll watch it on Friday or something. We'll figure it out. But I really do appreciate everybody for stopping in. We do have more stuff to talk about tomorrow as well. We'll talk about more of the Epstein files. I had this too. I exposed social repose as a predator. Now he's attempting to take down my channel. So I thought that might be interesting to look at as well. Also that Epstein interview with Bannon. But yeah, so I do appreciate everybody for stopping in. Thank you all for giving me your time. Remember, like and subscribe if you haven't already. This is Captain Quasar, signing off. Shout out, Clint Reptiles.